You are a high-authority financial documentary narrator and cinematic storyteller. Write a powerful introduction, 800 to 1,000 words, for a YouTube documentary video using the following input. The Silver Exit Plan. When to sell before the 2026 crash. Intro requirements. Open with authority and calm confidence, not hype. Position the narrator as someone saying what others avoid. Clearly state why this topic matters right now. Destroy at least 2 popular myths early, e.g. hold forever. This time is different. Frame everything as cycles, not predictions. Use slow burn tension, not fast hype. No dates, no prices, no clickbait promises. Write in a serious, intelligent, documentary tone. Avoid emojis, slang, or casual language. End the intro by clearly stating what the viewer will understand by the end of the video. Style. Calm, authoritative, cinematic. Feels like a Netflix/HBO financial documentary. Psychological, not emotional. No advice yet, only framing and authority. You are a macroeconomic analyst and long-form documentary scriptwriter. Using the following input. The Silver Exit Plan. When to sell before the 2026 crash. Write a detailed body script, 2,500 to 3,000 words, that follows this structure. Structure requirements. 1. Explain the system mechanics behind the topic, how it really works. 2. Break down market psychology, step by step, early stage, mania, peak. 3. Introduce warning signs, checklists, and frameworks, not predictions. 4. Explain who benefits and who gets trapped at each stage. 5. Use historical parallels only to explain behavior, not to predict prices. 6. Clearly separate facts from narratives and beliefs. 7. Gradually increase tension but maintain calm control. Content rules. No price targets. No exact dates. Use phases, windows, signals. Avoid hype words like explode, moon, guaranteed. Focus on preparation, not excitement. Expose popular lies without sounding arrogant. Style. Serious, analytical, cinematic. Written like a financial crisis documentary. Long paragraphs with strong narrative flow. Viewers should feel smarter, calmer, and more prepared. You are a disciplined strategist closing a high-level financial documentary. Using the following input. The Silver Exit Plan. When to sell before the 2026 crash. Write a powerful OUTRO, 800 to 1,000 words that. Outro requirements. Shifts the viewer from fear to control. Reinforces that cycles always end. Emphasizes discipline over emotion. Explains why preparation beats prediction. Encourages thinking in plans, rules, and phases. Makes selling or exiting feel intelligent, not disloyal. Avoids telling viewers exactly what to buy or sell. Ending style. Calm, confident, and authoritative. No hype, no urgency traps. Leaves the viewer feeling steady and clear-headed. End with a reflective, thought-provoking closing line, not a CTA. The system beneath the surface. To understand how and when exits matter, you must first understand how silver actually functions within the financial system. Silver is not just a metal. It is a hybrid. It sits uncomfortably between two worlds, monetary perception and industrial utility. That dual identity is what gives silver its volatility and its cyclical extremes. In early phases, silver behaves like a neglected asset. Capital avoids it. Liquidity is thin. Ownership is concentrated among informed participants who are early, patient, and largely ignored. As conditions shift, silver begins to attract attention not because of speculation, but because of narrative alignment. Inflation discussions, monetary instability, supply constraints. These forces bring in capital that is still rational, still analytical. But silver does not peak because of fundamentals alone. It peaks because perception overwhelms function. Industrial demand does not scale infinitely. Monetary narratives eventually overreach. And when price appreciation becomes the primary reason for ownership, the system begins to destabilize itself. This is not manipulation. It is mechanics, the psychological progression of a silver cycle. Every silver cycle follows a psychological arc that is remarkably consistent. In the early stage, participation is quiet. Information flows slowly. Buyers are cautious. Doubt dominates. As confidence builds, skepticism fades. The metal gains legitimacy. Media coverage becomes neutral, then constructive. Ownership expands. Then comes acceleration. This is where psychology shifts from analysis to justification. Gains are no longer questioned. Risk is reframed as opportunity. The narrative simplifies because complexity becomes inconvenient. Late-stage participants arrive not because they understand silver, but because they fear missing it. This is the phase where exits become emotionally difficult and intellectually necessary. At the peak, certainty dominates. Not optimism, certainty. The belief that downside no longer matters. That cycles have been conquered. That patience will be rewarded indefinitely. This is not strength. It is vulnerability. Warning signs without predictions. Market tops do not announce themselves. They reveal themselves through behavior. One signal alone means nothing. But clusters matter. Retail participation accelerates rapidly. Media tone shifts from analysis to affirmation. Dissent becomes unpopular. Skepticism is labeled ignorance. Positioning becomes crowded. Volatility increases not because of fear, but because of leverage. Industrial demand begins to soften quietly, not in headlines, but in margins and substitution. Supply responds, slowly at first, then faster. None of these signals require timing. They require observation. The mistake is waiting for certainty. Certainty only appears after the cycle has turned. Who benefits and who gets trapped? Early participants benefit from asymmetry. They assume uncertainty when prices are low and narratives are weak. Late participants absorb certainty at the highest psychological cost. Institutions distribute quietly. Retail accumulates loudly. This is not malicious. It is structural. Markets reward those who plan exits before they need them. History is behavior, not blueprint. Every silver cycle looks unique on the surface and identical underneath. Different decades, different headlines, same emotions. History does not repeat prices. It repeats mistakes. Those who believe themselves immune to this pattern are usually the most vulnerable to it. Facts versus beliefs. Facts are measurable. Beliefs are contagious. Beliefs feel comforting at the top. Facts feel inconvenient. Exit strategies are built on fact liquidity, positioning, demand, and trend integrity, not on identity or loyalty to an asset. Controlled tension. As cycles mature, tension rises quietly, not through panic, but through complacency. The most dangerous phase is not the crash. It is the period just before when selling feels unnecessary. Every cycle ends, not because something fails, but because balance is restored. Markets do not collapse out of chaos. They reverse out of excess. Excess confidence, excess leverage, excess belief in permanence. And silver, despite its history and importance, is not exempt from this truth. Understanding this does not make you pessimistic. It makes you prepared. Fear comes from uncertainty. Control comes from structure. An exit plan is not an act of betrayal toward an asset. It is an act of respect for reality. It acknowledges that cycles are not moral judgments. They are movements of capital and psychology. Discipline is rarely rewarded emotionally in the moment. It is rewarded later, quietly, when others are asking what went wrong. Preparation does not mean selling early. It means knowing what you will do before emotions decide for you. Selling is not disloyal. It is strategic. Holding is not virtuous. It is conditional. The investor who survives cycles is not the one who believes the most, but the one who adapts with the least drama. Prediction invites arrogance. Preparation invites longevity. By understanding phases rather than prices, signals rather than headlines, and behavior rather than belief, you remove yourself from the crowd, not physically, but psychologically. And that is where control lives. Cycles will turn whether you watch them or not. The question is not whether silver will move higher or lower. The question is whether you will recognize the moment when holding becomes hope and discipline becomes the only edge left. That moment does not reward speed. It rewards clarity. And clarity, unlike excitement, can be built in advance.